Today's video is a bit difficult to make because I just finished reading the suicide note of one of the brothers who killed their family in Texas. So what happened recently is that two brothers in Texas killed their mother, their father, grandmother and their sister. Then they killed themselves. What I want to go through in this video is the reason why they actually did that, because one of the brothers left 6-page suicide note and I've just read it and it was chilling. I want to really dive deep into his logic and why he did what he did with his brother. This murder really showcases the dangers of nihilism and especially the atheistic thinking. As he discusses in the first paragraph of the letter, he says, "For those of you who don't know, I've had depression since 9th grade. Not the damn I failed my test depression everyone says they have, but more like I only cut myself twice today, that's better than usual." We're not talking about depression from sadness, we're talking about clinical depression coming from an existential crisis. Because he actually says in one of the paragraphs why he's feeling like that. It's nothing to do with his life. His life is perfect. As he says in one of the paragraphs, he had the best year of his life. He somehow managed to get a girlfriend. He became a programming god and made a solid new friend group. Then he got into computer science at UT Austin. Then when he talks about the medication and kind of the mental health issues, he says, "I tried doubling my medication, which worked, but only temporarily. Every solution was always temporary." Now this is the most frustrating bit for him, and this is where it's really chilling, because this was exactly how I felt a couple of years ago. When he goes to college, he says, "For the life of me, I just can't comprehend how you people do it. You people are okay with spending hours upon hours listening to lectures, doing homework, and studying for at least 4 years so you can get a job and make some money. You plan on working at that job for a third of your life, sleep for the other third, and do God knows what for the last. How are you satisfied with that? Don't you ever get bored or upset with the menial stuff? Doesn't it feel like you're wasting your time?" Man, I mean, this is on point. This is when I, got my first job and I was really kind of successful, let's say. I became super depressed for another reason as well, but this was getting me down as well. Like, everybody's acting normally, the whole society, and it's not normal. The whole system is based on lies. There is no education doesn't guarantee you a job. And when you go into the job market, they don't care about your education, so it's completely backwards. People just look at oh, I want to buy a house and have a family and this, and they don't care about I'm gonna die. What's the point of life? Where am I going when I die? I was struggling with these questions. Nobody was kind of tackling them. So I was like, man, this is depressing here. This is depressing because everybody's just looking at their small lives. I mean, how can they not be existentially anxious as I was? And I think he was going through the same thing, and I can definitely relate to him. This is crazy. He says, "Everyone's allowed to worry about their future, and I can't even think about what I'm going to do tomorrow without enduring an existential crisis." This hits home. Every second of the day, I would just think about, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. What's the point of life? What's the meaning of life? What's the point of life? Why am I doing this? Then you go to work and you need to do some job. Let's say you need to do some within Excel files, right? You do that job and you realize how small, insignificant part is that job compared to the entire company, and how your entire life you have been brought up in a family to do great things, and you're now just part of this machine doing this useless stuff. That makes you depressed, dude. That makes you depressed. He says, "No matter what I do, I just can't be happy." Yeah, so he was trying to find happiness. And that's kind of a loop, because it doesn't exist in this world. We all know that, but in this world, happiness doesn't exist, and you just have to make your peace with it. The only thing you can find here is contentment. Depression is when you feel that same sadness to the point where it interrupts your sleep or prevents you from doing hobbies. Yeah. I remember I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't listen to music, I couldn't do anything when I was depressed. Nothing. Basically, everything was pretty darky. Now, but here's what it gets interesting. He goes into the whole consciousness and evolution debate. When he's talking about why mental illness are treated so differently from physical illness, he says, "I think this stems from the idea of consciousness separate from the physical structure of the brain. But if someone took out a fundamental part of your brain, you might become a completely different person." We don't know what consciousness is. We can't observe it. We don't know what it is. People who are atheists or people who don't believe in any sort of God claim that, consciousness is fine, but it's just a byproduct of evolution. It doesn't really matter, and the inner experience that you feel right now by watching this video, this inner feeling of like, this doesn't happen. This is just like in your head. These are just neurons firing in your head. Just ignore your first person experience. Just live your life like you don't exist. Your first person experience is everything you know: love, consciousness, morality. That's just a social construct. We just made it up. It doesn't really exist. Morality, just do as you please. Just don't harm other people, but do as you please. And just ignore the internal part of yourself, because the only part that matters in this world is the external part. It's the universe. It's the stars. It's expanding the universe. All the internal things, ignore it. Who cares? It's all made up. God, religion, forget about that. So you see, they try to ignore. We have two worlds that we constantly exist in. You right now exist in the external world by maybe watching a video, or if you go outside, you're interacting with the external world. But you also have internal world all the time. You're in it when you sleep, when you do anytime. You're watching it through your head internally. And I can't see your internal world. You can see mine. That's how it is. I can only see the external world. And which one of these is the more important? Well, when we talk about mental health and depression, it's the internal world. So at this stage, we see that this guy is not really the guy who would like melt down and kill somebody without planning. This was planned, this was logically justified from his mind, and he had no other option based off his logic, just to kill himself and his family. We're gonna get into why he killed his family as well. But he did that because he adopted different ideologies, and I'm not talking that we should expose them, but we should really understand where they can lead. The ideology that consciousness doesn't matter, it's a byproduct of evolution, the ideology of evolution itself, the ideology of not having any meaning in life and just doing as you please. Those are modern ideologies, and they should be examined. And he says, neurons are just biological equivalent of transistors in computers, ATCG instead of zeros and ones. That's DNA, but you get the point. Consciousness is nothing but a byproduct of evolutionary luck. So this guy was highly educated computer programmer, atheist. Parents are Muslim, but atheist. And he basically is comparing the AI or a computer to a human being, because he cannot get a grips on what is consciousness. So consciousness is just a byproduct of evolution. So it went Homo erectus, Neanderthals, Australopithecus, or whatever is the chain, and then it was Homo sapiens sapiens, just like random mutation, evolution, consciousness. We got it. So if this is the case, we should all be behaving like him. We should all just go and say like, what's the difference between me and, I don't know, this thing? Nothing. Well, let me take something alive, like me and this pillow. Nothing, 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 according to him. And he took atheism to its most extreme. It is just neurons in your brain. It's just neurons. So this thing and me, we don't have any difference. There's nothing different. So killing this pillow and killing me is no different, because we don't have soul, we don't have consciousness, nothing. There's nothing that is actually moral about me. Morality doesn't exist. So essentially it's all just made up. You can see, like, if you think about atheism deep enough, you get into the point of nihilism, of no return, where you just realize the existential nothingness that you are. How can that not lead you to depression? That is the ultimate path to depression. So from his point of view, life is a coincidence, evolution, consciousness, everything is a coincidence, is randomness. And so when you die, nothing happens. Nothing happens. So there is no ultimate purpose for you in this world. You're not preparing for the next, you're not meeting anybody, you're not going to be held accountable for your actions. What you can do is do as you please. But that will lead you to depression, because you realize nothing actually matters in this world. You try to chase it through external things, money, cars, whatever, it doesn't fulfill you, then you go berserk. That's what happens. So he says, anyone who knew me knew that I operate on pure logic. Every decision I make is based on pros and cons list, including the one to kill my family. So now he goes into the meaning. Everyone thinks the meaning of life is this deep, unsolvable mystery, but the conclusion I came to is really simple. The only reason for existence is happiness. In fact, every decision you make is solely because it contributes to your overall happiness. I know many of you will disagree with me, but hopefully I can convince you with a few examples. There is an obvious choice we make like watching movies or playing video games, which make us happy directly, but then there's more obscure and less obvious choices. Students don't attend school for direct happiness, but they view the alternative as worse for their happiness, whether it be disappointing their parents or not having a future. So they go, thus contributing to their total happiness. Some of the religious people might say you only live to please God, but the act of worship is yet another decision that makes you contempt even some selfless things. If the only reason to live is for happiness, then logically you shouldn't live if you are unhappy. That makes sense, right? Then he compares his situation to basically having clinical depression, says he's not very happy, so he wants to kill himself. And he's just too selfish to care. But he's not selfish enough, because he says, there's my family, the one reason I forced myself to live for 19 years. I know I said I operate on logic, but the one emotional aspect of my life is the only reason I'm here. I love my family. And that's exactly why I decided to kill them. If I killed just myself, they would be miserable. They would spend the rest of their lives feeling guilt, despair, and a multitude of other adjectives that mean sad. Even after they got over it, it would become a permanent facet of their lives. Instead of having to deal with the aftermath of my suicide, I could just do them a favor and take them with me. None of us would have to feel sad ever again. His worldview is that happiness is something that we should chase, and his worldview is justified by saying everybody's chasing happiness, whether directly or indirectly. And that might be true to some extent, because yes, as a religious person, you're also doing it because you expect reward at the end of the day. Well, what he's not realizing is that there is actually the meaning of life. There is the ultimate purpose. And the purpose, yes, it is to worship God, but we have to look at the logical justification behind these statements. The person like this would never be persuaded through any illogical arguments or verses or emotional statements to why they should embrace a faith to help them cope with mental health, to help them find the purpose of life, to help them do all these things. Because we can see that this principle of happiness actually led him to killing not just himself, his family, because he justified it by saying, well, they would be sad, therefore I'm going to kill them. This is again coming from the modernism, these ideas of happiness, that you should seek happiness and that we should be happy. These are the ideas that modern liberals are promoting. But if we deconstruct them, they don't lead anywhere. Let's now assess why he thinks like that. If he had a foundation of, okay, when I die, I'm going to be judged on the day of judgment. Every single action I'm going to do is going to be played out, and I'm going to be explaining myself, and I'm going to be put into hell or heaven. Simple. With every action in this world, I'm building my next life. I'm not just living for this world, I'm not just living in desires, because I know this is just like a transitioning place, this world, and we're going to the next one. So I'm not gonna be here pretending that I'm chasing happiness or I'm chasing desires or getting houses. I know this is just a temporary place. I'm gonna die, and when I die, I'm going somewhere else. Where am I going? I want to figure that out. I'm not a byproduct of evolution. How do I know that? Well, let's look at the facts. Now, and we can now go into arguments, into any sort of argument you want. Kalam cosmological argument about the beginning of the universe, the Big Bang Theory, why there must be a creator. Once we establish there is a creator, the creator is all-powerful, all-knowing, and he gave you the purpose. The purpose of your life is to worship him, get closer to him, call others to him, experience his being in your life. That's the meaning of your life. By the way, check out the video on the meaning of life if you're interested. But there is a meaning that you have, which is greater than anything you can imagine in this world. And then once you die, you will be held accountable. There is no suicide is forbidden. You shouldn't kill somebody. If you know that there is a creator, if you know that there is a clear purpose of life, and if there are evidences that I can lay out on the table for you and tell you, the consciousness is not a byproduct, there is no randomness, it's all predetermined. You will be held accountable. There is actually a creator who created you, if you just look around. And don't fall into this trap of atheism and believing you should chase happiness and that people just live to be happy and there's no meaning in life and it's all nihilism and it's all good and let's just do anything because it's subjective morality. We can all do whatever we please. That's the trap of the modern life. So be careful, because everything in this world is programmed like that, especially in the West. So we have to be careful to stay out of that trap, because we can see where it can lead. And this guy is an example of going astray extremely taking the ideology to its extreme, and that's actually where it leads. If you think it through, there's no other logical explanation he had, because if he wants to minimize happiness or minimize sadness of his family, he has to kill them. There's no other way around it. So this is the disgusting behavior of somebody who took the ideology to its extreme. If you don't have those foundations in life, that there is a creator, there's a meaning of life, that something happens when you die, there is a day where you will be held accountable for everything you did. If you don't have that as a foundation, you have subjective morality, you can do whatever. You know, if people tell you that you should just ignore your internal experiences, the consciousness, whatever emotions you have, that's dumb, because as you could see, his only emotional aspect in his entire life as a computer programmer was his family, who he loved. And that's irrational that he loved them. He even admitted it. But that's the only thing that mattered to him. And that's the only thing that kept him alive so much. So you can see relationships, your family, your spouse, nature, all these things have higher value than anything in this world. Cultivate those things, appreciate them, because those things are not tied to your logical argument mind. Those things are tied to your emotional, to your spiritual self. And you can't ignore it because it exists. You're having it right now. So you can't tell me, oh, mine doesn't exist, it's just made up. You're telling me that from your mind. So I know you have mind, so what are you telling? Like, it's illogical to claim these things. Even though we can't put it in the lab, we can't see the consciousness, we all know we have it. We all know we have the soul. We all know it's wrong to kill people. I just want to say that everything that he went through, I somehow understand what he was saying, but if he had Islam in his life, none of this would happen. Islam gives you guidance. Islam gives you specific rules what to do in your life, and it gives you that peace, that contentment that you're looking for. I promise you, I was severely depressed. I was an atheist as well, so I know how you feel. But I'm telling you, once you come to conclusion that this is the truth, that's when you start to feel these feelings, and you will finally find those things that you were looking for. And I'm not saying only people who accept Islam will have this. Different faith groups have this feeling. The important thing is to get in touch with your spiritual self, because you are not logic, one and zeros. You're not computer. You're not this. You have a mind. You are a human being. You have consciousness. You have soul. So you have to cultivate that, and you have to spiritually get close to whatever you believe. Whether that's Christianity, whether you're a Hindu, whether you practice yoga, whatever you do, you need to find the truth. For me, it's Islam. And for me, it's very clear and cut that it's Islam for everybody. But I'm not here to promote it or to tell you that you should accept Islam. But I'm telling you, it definitely helped me. And until you find something like that, you're gonna struggle forever. So you won't find it externally. It's in you, it's within you. Reflect, read books, and hopefully it's gonna help you. But this was a chilling reminder. We need to stay on the straight path, the path that doesn't deviate from the manual. You know, the manual is the Quran. We have the manual, and we can't deviate from the path. And if we don't deviate, we will reach our destination here and in the hereafter. Simple as that. If you have any questions about Islam, if you think you have a better idea how to go about meaning of life, leave me a comment. I will be happy to engage with you. Thank you guys, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.